standing behind the podium. As Ryan said, my name is William Haston. I am here running for the 4th Congressional District because I believe that we need to fight for the economic dignity and prosperity of everyday people, just like us, over all the corporate interests that control our politics right now. We live in a place that's ripe with industry, and that's great, and that's good, and that's well, but that industry, it buys our politics, and it controls our politics. Almost any issue that you look at right now in the government, whether it be gun control, whether it be environmental issues, whether it be any single issue that you can think of, probably, if you follow the money, you're going to find out why something is or is not happening. As a candidate, we have decided that we are going to ground our campaign in 5 core pillars. Actually, let me back up. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm sorry. I was born and raised in East Tennessee to a loving family. One of my earliest memories is of my mom and dad driving in a snowstorm to take my mom to work at McDonald's. I come from a family of hardworking people. When my mom and dad weren't able to be with us because they were working, we would send my grandma, who was a custodian for close to 40 years at the university where we live. Shortly thereafter, I graduating high school, went to college, and then joined the Air Force. 2008, the height of the financial crisis. I wish I could give you some nostalgic, patriotic reason for joining the military. I don't have one. My student loans were coming due. I'd always wanted to join the Air Force, and I knew that serving my country was the right thing to do and the right way to do it. And so I took that on. I served for almost 9 years in different assignments throughout. And I love talking about it. So if anybody would like to hear about it, I'm more than happy to tell you about it. You don't have to thank me for my service because I had a great time. I loved every single day of going to work. One of the best jobs I ever had. My wife and I moved here a few years ago, and one of the things the Air Force instilled in me was you go to a place, you learn about it, you see the problems, and you begin problem solving, and you begin fixing problems, and you begin figuring out how you can put your fingerprints on things that are happening to make them better. And you always want to uplift the places that you are going with the experiences from the places that you've been. And so that's why I'm here. With that, we have 5 core pillars to our campaign, and I'll kind of expound on them a little bit. The first one is to end corruption. When I say follow the money always means corruption. There is no way that anybody can tell me that with our current political system that our politicians are not up for sale and that they're bought and paid for. In our race right now, there is $196,000 in our race. Full disclosure, I've raised $6,000 from individual small dollar donations from every single person I know to call. Now, the other $190,000, I regret to tell you, has come from corporate interests. And I say I regret because that's the way our politics work. I'm a candidate who is refusing to take any corporate money. I don't want lobbyist money. I don't want corporate PAC money. There are only a few political action committees that I'm willing to work with, and those are very issue specific to the environment, to gun control, to reproductive rights. And so those are the type of PACs that I am willing to work with, but corporate PACs are not those. I believe that we need to aggressively pursue a Green New Deal. 2 years ago, we were told we have 12 years before the damage that we've done to the planet is irreversible. We're seeing it every single day that something is happening. There are fires, there are floods, there are hurricanes, there are bomb cyclones, which you couple bomb and cyclone doesn't make sense for weather, but it's happening. And so we have to do something. We have to be at net carbon zero quickly. We're out of time. We have to do something now. I have a 2-year-old. The world as we see it today, a beautiful sunny day like now, may not exist for her if we don't do something. And so we have to aggressively go after that. I believe in free public college. Education is a great equalizer. I went to college. It forever changed my life. And providing that for other people and that opportunities will raise up our entire society. I believe that we have the will to do it. We just have to have folks in office that have the political courage to pursue that, to say that we will invest in our entire society, not just those who can afford it, not just those who can pay to play, but those who really are truly willing to work hard. And if if payment is the only barrier, we should alleviate that, and that should go away. I believe that we need higher wages. As of right now, the wage in this country with Trump's new tax cuts, wages have gone down. The last time that wages were tied to inflation were in 1978. I believe that today, if we tied wages to inflation and we enacted that, the minimum wage would be $21.26. That changes the life of single parents, two-parent families, and everybody else that isn't working for just minimum wage also moves up because the pay scale has expanded and it's larger and we're able to do more things, thus feeding the economy. And it's not just something that we talk about, but it's something that's real, and we're actually prospering as a people. The last thing, and probably the most important thing for me, is Medicare for all. I believe that we have to push for a national single-payer healthcare system, because people shouldn't have to be sick and be afraid to go to the doctor. You shouldn't be afraid to get into an ambulance because you've gotten hurt. And so I believe that by having a public-funded single-payer healthcare system, we all will live better lives, because being sick is not a crime. Being sick is not something that you should be punished for. You should be able to seek care, get better, and continue your life. My name is William Haston. Again, I'm running because I believe everyday people need that economic dignity and prosperity that we all deserve, because we've all worked for it. Thank you.
All right. So we've got about 4 minutes for questions. Any questions? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Where do you stand on the current Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVoucher? How do you feel about public education and charter schools and school choice?
So this is an issue that I've thought a lot about, because growing up in East Tennessee, our public education was poorly funded, and we don't have charter schools. And if we do, they're really expensive. I don't believe that charter schools have any place in a society where we're trying to give everybody an equal chance. I believe that that the federal government, not property taxes, should be funding schools so that everybody gets a fair shake. There shouldn't be one school in town that's terrible and has low test scores and the building is falling apart and it sits in a floodplain and all of the horrible things that happen for that school, which, by the way, is normally for people of color. In another school in another part of town where the property taxes are much higher and they're able to afford a great school and they're sending kids to college in droves, and everything goes that school's way. So I believe the federal government should be controlling education, and in that, there's no place for charter schools. Yes, sir.
You're running against a very popular person in Johnson.
Yes, sir.
And he's not going to debate you unless you show that you have a certain amount of leverage behind you to be taken seriously.
Yes, sir.
How do you accomplish that? Because if you can't get on that debate stage with him, he can just ignore you.
Absolutely.
And your name will not.
100%. Yes. So one of the goals that I have set for our campaign is that we want to reach out and touch 25,000. I want to shake, or my campaign and I are going to shake 25,000 hands and talk to 25,000 people. And I will tell you that any candidate that sees 25,000 people, you've got a problem. If you're being challenged by 25,000 people, that's more than a groundswell. That's you losing an election. And so I believe that if we can get out and we can talk to people, and just as Ryan was saying and Kelly was saying, if we can get out and we can knock those doors, if we can get out and we can meet people, if we can get out and make the name known so that they have no choice but to hear from us and have no choice but to debate us, then we'll be okay. I will tell you that the best case scenario, I believe, is that we talk to 25,000 people and we fly under the radar until March and it's too late and we're there. But that said, that's not going to happen. And so I know that when we start talking to people and that groundswell begins, that buzz starts, we'll be there. We'll be there, and they'll have no choice but to hear from us and hear from the people.
I will also say that one thing a lot of people have a problem with Hank is that he's subdued, not come out a fighter, and really stand with the Democratic line. So, I mean, when you show a distinct.
Yeah, I'm not that type of person. I will fall in line if it's the right thing to do, but we're going to DC to fight. There's no way around it. The Republicans for a very long time, they are aggressive and they fight and they fight and they fight and they fight. And the Democratic Party has been timid. We've been calm. We've been reactionary. And I think that if we take the fight to DC, we take the fight to the other party, we take the fight to those establishment folks that would rather us kind of just play to lose, essentially. I mean, that's what we're doing right now. That I'm here to fight. I am not the type of person that's just going to go along with the party line and go along with the party line, but because I believe it's what's right for my constituents, and what's right for our party as a whole. Yes, ma'am.
What are the counties that you represent?
The counties that the 4th District represents, Gwinnett, DeKalb, Newton, and Rockdale, and
That's it. That's it. Yep.
You got my vote.
Thank you so much.
You got the cash.
Thank you so much.